when you close the refrigerator, you have to push because it no longer has that attraction magnet working. You just have to push on it and it closes and stays closed.
Well, good.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a whole show on magnets, right?
Oh, God.
I love magnets.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
What I do is I swallow 2 magnets, and sometimes they don't come out, and I have to go to the hospital because. No, I'm kidding. It's a joke. She got so concerned. She's like, "Why is this kid swallowing magnets?" Yeah.
No.
My only question was, do you swallow them at the same time, or do you
separate.
space them?
Space them out.
Space them out.
You know, yeah.
People swallow magnets if the right way. You get close and you
Get pushed apart.
We get pulled towards the Amtrak by a train.
Go by as an MRI machine. Get pulled out.
Walk into a jewelry store, everything just sticking to my chest.
Sir.
Well, I mean, we keep bantering, or should we hop on in?
Hop on in.
Yeah, teaching. Well, Teaching with Fran was last week. We're going to kind of continue that. How's everyone doing? Fran, how are you?
Doing great.
And who is this on your lap?
This is Lilly. She's a little Maltese. She's a rescue.
Hello,
and
Lily.
and she wants to sit on my lap right now. So maybe she can stay a little while.
What do you think's
By all means.
lighter, the mic or Lily?
The mic.
That's fair.
Yeah. You said the mic was too heavy, so now we're going to swap out the mic with the dog. So if you complain about holding the dog now, you can't come back to us.
If I put her down, she could bark again.
Yes.
We don't want that.
No, we don't want that.
And-
Okay.
And Justin, how are you?
I'm okay.
And you got here.
Happy to be here.
And you got here early.
I
You weren't
did. I
late.
did. Look at that.
I know.
Left earlier, and I got here early.
Oh,
It's crazy how
lovely.
things work. Time. Time is a crazy thing.
It is. It is. Right. So, Kevin, there's one thing I really wanted to go back to from
Okay,
last
let's go.
time. All right. There was the question about what do you do with time when everybody has 24 hours, but the person who asked the question must have been asking because their whole life is crowded. And I heard a different way. I was thinking about, what do I do when a student needs more time? And that's
You were
why
in teacher mode.
I was a teacher, and I was thinking about how I would volunteer my time after school. But I want to go back to that because I did have a crowded life often. I mean, we moved 9 times. It was always new jobs, new curriculums to learn. And sometimes people would ask you to do things because they didn't want to do them. And you got a lot of jobs that took a lot of time. So eventually I had to learn to manage time better. And one of the things I realized is that if you break a big job into smaller parts, you can do it. And it's like eating an elephant, one bite at the time. Or another thing that you can do is look at all the things that are on your crowded plate and look and see if there are some of them that could really be done by other people. And you need to ask your friends and family if they would help you out because you have a lot to do on that particular day. So don't hesitate to ask people because it makes people feel really good when they feel that they're needed and when they can help you. It's a wonderful feeling when you've helped somebody. Another thing you can also do is learn to say, I don't know if I can do that. I'll have to check my calendar and get back to you. And then if you don't get back to them, they find someone else to do it. You don't end up with these extra tasks.
Yeah, because sometimes you might want to push something off to somebody else, but their plates are so full too.
Yes.
So you get in that, that middle area.
Exactly. And it's all in the way you say it
Yeah.
and the way you think about it. But never hesitate to ask the whole community to help you because sometimes you need them, everyone.
I think that's a great point because we're so hyper focused on what we have going on that sometimes it feels like asking for help is too much because maybe you feel like you can't help others. So how could you do the same? But I think that's a great thing to just kind of be vulnerable or,
Yes.
be brave enough to ask for help because we all need help from time to time, especially just managing time itself. So I think that's great. I'm really glad you brought that back up.
And I'd like to add to that too. It's like everyone's plates are so full, and a lot of people, like my plate's always filled with like work related things and stuff that really isn't essential. I mean, it's essential to my, it's my life, to my income, but I think everyone should also make room on that plate for what's important to them too. Because once you put that on the plate, it's like, well, what else, what needs to get off the plate,
Mm-hmm.
and do it that way as well.
Well, we didn't talk about taking time to relax.
That's got to be on, time to relax has to be on the plate.
It's got to be there.
Yeah.
I wish my whole plate was time to relax.
That's retirement.
Right. Time to sleep. You have to sleep. The body needs it. It has to renew itself.
Yeah.
So this is all part of taking care of yourself so that you can become fully you. That's your job, is to become yourself fully and to share your gifts and your talents wherever you are.
Yeah. I'm glad you had a follow-up response for that.
Good.
So you had the teacher response, and now you have the everyday response.
Every day. Right.
Let's go into another bit of Franmail before we kind of revisit last week a little more.
All right.
This piece came in from someone, a dear individual in my life. They're getting ready to move in with their significant other for the first time.
Yeah.
Ooh, yikes. Could be good, could be not good. You don't know until you do it.
Great feedback.
That's what I'm
Thank you,
here
Justin.
for.
Thank you, Justin. Do you have any advice for couples that are getting ready to live together for the first time?
Well, the first thing is to be totally yourself. Don't pretend to be anything other than that. And then see if you two really do live peacefully together. Is it going to be a good thing? Or is it going to be a bumpy thing? If it starts out being a bumpy ride, then it's better to find another place to live. But I know that you must be in love, and that does cloud your eyes a bit. You know, you can't really see clearly when you are just passionately in love. But really, I think it's a good thing to spend that much time with someone, to see if you really want to spend your life with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was very lucky in the time that Dan and I were dating in 1960. People did not move in together.
Yeah.
You got married, and then you discovered what you were really like. But we were really fortunate because our lives just fit perfectly together. We liked the same kind of things, the same kind of food. We helped each other. We had 3 wonderful sons together. And through the years, you are growing all the time. People don't stay the same. Mm-hmm. And some people grow apart. And I hope that you won't. I hope that you'll try to do things together, even if you have separate interests, and everyone does. But you'll always find time for each other. Have a date night, have a weekend away, and always put that other person first in your life. And I believe you'll be very happy.
That is great advice. I think it all goes back to always being your true self.
Yourself.
Whether in the classroom or,
yes,
living with someone. Justin, do you want to add any advice to that?
I mean,
for this bit of Franmail?
Yeah, for the bit of Franmail, I think, like you said, it's important. You have to be in love. You have to be willing to, okay, we're moving in together, but also, I very much think of now, but I also think multiple steps ahead. What's the next step? And you have to, as you're thinking that, it's like, well, is that what I want? There's next step, whether it's, marriage or, whatever follows next, wherever you're thinking, make sure you communicate that with them and they're thinking the same, they're on the same page as, okay, we're moving in together. That's our next step. That's what we're building. What are we building after that? Mm-hmm. I think that's something you have to communicate.
Exactly. What if your jobs are in different towns and you have to be away a lot? This is one of the things that's happening because, people have their jobs in other countries and fly back and forth. But if you are truly in love, distance makes no difference. I can tell you that.
Distance makes no difference.
Yes.
Makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah.
But also, kind of back to what you were saying before, you can't see red flags with rose-colored glasses on.
The red flags with rose-colored glasses.
You can't see red flags with rose-colored glasses on. So when you're saying you got to know someone for who they are, that is so utterly important. So that is some great Franmail. I think that was a great response, even from you, Justin. I like that.
What? You don't think I have good things to say?
No, it's not.
Because most of the relationship are built on it has been you beating me up, but we rip on each other.
Yeah, of course.
I got some good stuff.
You have.
I consider myself educated to an extent,
Yes.
and I overlook certain things.
Oh, Justin's always putting limits on himself sometimes. I believe in you. Fran believes in you.
Yep.
Lily believes in you.
Yep. She does too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's great. Another thing, so we'll bounce back to last week. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Got a lot of great feedback. Council of All Beings.
Yes.
Was so important. We'll kind of touch back on that. Justin, are you? So this is Fran. So Fran, what is your being that you're speaking for?
My being are trees, all the trees. I believe that we don't truly appreciate the trees and what they do for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if the trees could talk, they would remind us of the shade, of how many birds live there on their branches. They give their wood so we can have furniture and houses.
Yeah.
They are amazing. But one of the most amazing things is how they make oxygen. And we need that. Just try to get along, say, 30 seconds without oxygen, So
Don't actually try that at home.
No. But the trees are angry because people move in and they just go and say, I'm going to cut down all these trees and I'll plant the trees I want in my yard. And they get the little ornamentals or something different, and they don't appreciate the trees that are there. And I think we need to step back a bit and put down those saws and think about the trees that we can save. I know some have to go if you're going to build your house, but we don't treasure them. And if they could scream when they are being cut down, people would not.
Oh, it would be a nightmare. If trees could scream all day, I would hear screams.
All the time.
I don't think you'd have people because people would start killing themselves. It'd be brutal to live.
So that is your plea to the two-leggeds?
Well, I could argue a lot more. There is a book that the trees would like for you to read. It's called The Secret Life of Trees, and it's how trees can communicate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I recommend that everyone reads that book. I love it. And so you can see the simple little mask that you would wear at the Real Being concert. Or it's not really a song, but it's a meeting. And these beings sit there with their masks on until their time comes to speak. And I'll tell you, people love this. Adults love it. Children really like it. And you can decorate it any way you want to make it look like the person you're speaking for. But you have to have the two-leggeds who argue with you.
Okay. Yeah.
So you have to have somebody to push back. Like the people who say, oh, there's so many trees. We have enough trees. We have forests everywhere.
Yeah, it's like, you want to kill my friends?
Exactly. You have to have the pushback because you have to see the passion that comes from the person who's speaking.
You want me to be the tree?
Justin
Am I going to be the tree?
Justin said...
I didn't want to wear it, but now
offline.
that I know what I saw, I'm like, I don't want to put that silly thing on. But now I'm
Silly.
like, I want to be a tree. I'm gonna be a mean tree.
I think Justin should wear
want
that.
to put it?
All right.
Give me that.
Okay, put it on.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see what happens.
The irony of it being in a paper bag.
Oh, that's
Justin,
so-
smile at the camera.
This is what it's like. I feel like this is a good look.
It is a good look.
Fran, should you tell them that those are poison
That look
ivy
good?
leaves, or do you
No,
want me
they're
to
not.
tell them that it's poison ivy?
It's not
Yeah.
If
poison
this is
ivy.
poison ivy,
No.
I'm going to make it grow around you. So I'm a tree.
It's not. It really is.
All right, so what are questions you would ask a tree?
Well, you're defending the trees.
I am.
But isn't it important that we build these big, beautiful houses and all this furniture, isn't it? And paper. We need lots and lots of paper to print things.
Well,
Yeah.
see, you know what?
Mhm.
We know you're useful because we kill you and use you.
Yeah, I don't want to. You know what? To kill them. Well, yeah. I wouldn't want to be killed and used. I would want to die and then you can use me, kind of like an organ donor. But I don't know. Is that for trees? Does that be like? What
I
are we
don't
doing
think-
with the dead trees? Because their wood's no good.
No, we're killing them so they are dead.
Yeah.
Because the dead ones we leave in the woods.
I know. I'm trying to solve the problem instead of address
Yes,
it.
but we would have to wait too long. You
So
live
you
a
just
long
rather just kill me?
time. Well,
But I'd give you oxygen to breathe.
As
Oh,
soon as
see.
You can't kill without the oxygen.
as soon as we can kill you, you're so dead. And we will use you, of course, to make toothpicks and telephone
to
poles.
clean your
Yeah.
teeth when you could just use a toothbrush.
And you know what? We are going to kill you to make books about why we shouldn't cut down trees.
Okay. How about we make those books out of plastic instead? Why does it have to be paper?
No, it looks better as paper.
Yes.
What about animal hide books? Although, there'd be a lot of dead animals.
A long time
we need
ago.
animals here to defend themselves.
A long time ago.
Le-
Right.
Leather page books.
Yes.
Leather bound.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, here's a children's book made from a dog. It's like, oh my god. Sorry.
Well, Mr. Tree.
I think Justin should take that off because I don't.
Yeah, me as a tree is no good. I feel like I
don't-
can just attack anything.
Justin's not. I don't know.
Well, we do recycle you, just so you know. And we also burn you in the fireplace so that it keeps us warm.
For warm, yes, and I'm okay as long as it's old wood. If it's like if you are about to die and there's plenty of trees, ample trees, cut me down.
Okay.
All
right.
We'll keep that in mind.
I just got attacked. I put it on and you guys just made fun of me. No, that's a
you-
good exercise though. But I feel like it'd be good if you had everybody like all
Yes.
there, because a lot
Oh,
of things like because I started going after let's just make a book out of animals. Let the animals defend for
Yeah.
themselves.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
that's what we're gonna have to do is have a big meetup, and everyone has to show up as their council of being.
You know what? How about for the summer solstice? We each are a being.
There it is.
Oh, that would be fun.
Settled
We'll have an ice cream party and we'll all come as a being
and ready to defend ourselves.
and ready to defend ourselves.
Because when you're not defending, you're two-legged.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So for more beings, Justin, what are the odds? What did you choose to defend?
I chose to defend water.
Oh, that's a good thing. Well, we need water.
Our producer's laughing.
We need water. Are you going to be salt water or fresh water?
Ooh. I feel like if you looked at me, it'd probably be salt water, but I would be fresh water. I think fresh water.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's, we did not discuss this
No.
after last week, but I also chose to represent streams
Okay, streams.
because
yes.
my childhood all summer long would be walking up and down the stream,
yes.
catching frogs and just in the stream, trying to avoid snakes, crawling
Right.
in the tunnels, and then just, catching fish and turtles and just spending time. I just love that.
Are you going to be a stream that ends up in the ocean?
Doesn't all water pretty much end up in the ocean?
Well, do you,
I'm going to be a stream that ends up in a pond.
okay. And then that pond does continue on.
Yeah.
You might want to look into that so that when you defend who you are
All right.
and the care that you require,
Okay.
okay, so we can appreciate you.
I want to be appreciated.
I know.
Might
Okay.
end up in the bad water.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Kind of like Newark or somewhere.
There's streams down there.
Yeah. I will.
Okay.
I'll be ready to defend
You'll be
myself.
ready.
When do we know when the summer solstice is? Is
It's
it
in
the
June.
21st?
It's in June.
June 21st.
All right.
Probably.
Okay. Be ready.
Feel
Yeah,
like
I'm
it's
gonna
a
be more
Tuesday.
prepared because I got thrown a curveball. I wasn't ready to defend.
Well, no,
the
you
tree.
were. Yeah, you're not a tree. You're,
No, you
You're
have to prepare.
fresh
It's
water.
very
I'll be
important.
prepared. Yeah.
Okay. I'll get out my drum and you will come in. We'll come in a line walking to the drum because this is going to be very serious.
yeah.
Okay.
And everyone listening at home, I hope you're picking out a being for yourself. Actually, I told you a little bit before, but a neighbor, I think he's moved out of the neighborhood now, but he reached out after the second episode and he was just thrilled with what we were discussing.
Good.
He
Good.
had no idea how
No.
wonderful and interesting you are. And this is why we're doing this podcast, to introduce the world to Fran. And he was also defending the streams and the birds and the trees. He even sent a picture. He went out to pick up garbage at his favorite
Wonderful.
fishing spot. So,
Wonderful.
I mean, I
What
didn't,
fishing spot is that? And we need to know.
off air. But yeah, to have an almost immediate impact.
That's great.
I thought that was wonderful.
I think he should be a part of the army of good.
I think that has earned him a spot in the army of good.
I agree. And summer's coming, and there are so many people that will have time off in the summer.
Yeah.
And they can really look around their neighborhoods and look and see what is needed. What is something they can do to make everything better?
And for those of you listening and watching, think of what you can do to help your neighborhood and write into us.
Yes.
And we will welcome you to the army of good.
Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe there's something you want to do to help out your neighbor and or neighborhood, whatever it is that maybe you have done. So you might be able to give advice on that.
Okay. Well, it's always cleaning
Mhm.
up.
Yeah, that's
It's always that.
Yeah.
People throw things out the window of their car and think that it's okay. There's no away. There's absolutely no away.
Yeah. And I've never seen, I can't picture I've seen people flick out cigarettes, which is just disgusting. But I've never seen anyone like throw out like a McDonald's bag. But
You always see them.
but they're everywhere.
Advertising, I think.
I actually,
McDonald's is behind
when
it.
I was working at the state park, if I remember correctly, I wrote an email to Quick Check because there was so much of their footprint everywhere in the forest.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to let them know, like, what you're serving, your products in is ending up in the woods, in the streams, at the campsites. And I can't remember. I'd have to look to see if they responded to me, but I just remember that really sticking out to me.
Well, I hope that they put up signs and said, use the trash.
Yeah.
They have trash cans. Sometimes neighborhoods need a trash can.
Yeah. Especially in like more urban areas.
Yes.
100%.
Nice.
And my thing is like, I don't litter, but what I do throw out the window is food, like an apple core, but I make sure I'm towards the woods and I throw it out the window, a banana peel. And there has been a time where I remember I ordered a bagel. They put too much cream cheese on the bagel.
Okay.
And the bagel was a hot, fresh bagel. So
boy.
I unwrapped it, bit into it. The cream cheese shot out onto my hand, onto my pants. I was going to work. Wasn't too thrilled. I rolled down the window and I threw the bagel out the window. It's fruit, though. It will dissolve. Someone will eat it, right?
Right.
So I don't condone that.
Right.
But that was out of frustration. But I didn't throw the wrapper out. It was just a bagel.
Just the bagel.
Just the bagel.
Just bagel.
Okay.
What else don't you condone, Justin? Too much cream cheese.
Too much cream cheese. I hate when people put too much cream cheese on a bagel. I posted something on my Instagram and it got a lot of people who got back to me. There are people who liked it, and then people who hated it. But I'm not for it.
Is there anything you wanted to add from last week? I have one more. I think we'll kind of continue on that conversation, but I have one more thing that I want to follow up with from
Okay.
last week.
All right. Good. What?
Justin, you asked me to write you a poem.
Oh my God.
Oh,
I did. Yeah, I did.
And what did you want me to write a poem about for you? Do you remember?
Oh, it was something about my eyes and my
yeah.
essence.
Your essence.
My
Yeah.
essence. Oh boy. I gotta start my car.
Yeah.
Get ready.
So,
You have a poem.
yes.
Are you gonna serenade me right now? In front of Fran?
Yeah. Zoom in the camera. Justin has green eyes that watch him create new ambitions, with his essence tracked on a seismograph along a busy fault line, with those swinging lines recording the present while drawing a path to future endeavors, leaving the past a scribbled memory. Justin wants a poem because everyone does, on some level, enjoy the sounds others make when they speak in metaphored praise. And these word-filled piñatas get beaten up blindly, leaving a mess of lines called poetry. Justin consumes to better understand his creations, hands and mind in sync, like the gears of a watch, tick, 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 always thinking. He knows, like architecture, how something beautiful can be created, how a joke can be engineered. He knows how much he likes to talk.
Dude. Yeah, that was
Beautiful.
good. That last line.
The essence. We have
Yeah.
the essence.
Yeah. Started off, I was like an earthquake on a seismograph. I'm like, oh yeah, it seems right. But yeah, fitting.
Ah.
Yeah, there's a couple lines in there. I'm just like, I can't believe I'm burning these up on Justin, like the pinata one. But if it fits, it fits. And then I ended on that. He knows how much he likes to talk, and then just nothing came after that.
You're done.
Just ran out of steam, and I didn't want to phone it in, so rather cut it short than fake it.
Mm-hmm.
So poetry. That was around the campfire.
I know, and it isn't even the winter fires.
No,
No, it's nice and warm.
the
That's
fi-
a
the
good
fire
one.
burns within.
Good.
And I knew
Good
it
one.
started off. It was nice, and then I knew I'm like, I'm waiting for it. He's got to hit me with it somewhere, and he got it. That was good. Well thought
Yeah.
out. Well thought out.
Gotcha. I'll write it up for you. Sign it. Well, Fran, I hope you enjoy that, Justin. I think we should kind of continue the conversation we were having last week. People were really enjoying hearing about your teaching philosophies.
Okay.
And I mean, the stories themselves are just incredible. We were left
Right.
speechless a few times. So if you wanted, I don't know if you have any more, stories in mind you wanted to share or any philosophies. I got a couple questions I can ask you if you want to. go with that, or
There's an apple right over there. You see that crystal apple? All right. Look at, turn it around. There's something on it. What does it say?
A+.
It's A+ for kids. A long time ago now, because I've been retired since the summer of '96, Channel 13 offered all kinds of opportunities for teachers to submit things that they were doing. And I wrote about reading and being readers' theater. And I did this with another teacher who taught home ec. And we would take really good stories, and we had stools and students who loved to read. And we would go into classrooms and we would put on a little show as readers' theater. And all you needed was a scarf, a hat. You turn around and change your scarf and your hat, and you become another character. But the classrooms really loved it. And, you know, being an oral reader is an important thing. If anybody ever asks you to like read for a wedding or some special occasion, they want you to read your poem, you need practice. And so when reading silently, you often kind of group words together differently. But when you read them orally, you give them another meaning altogether. Mm-hmm. So what I would like to suggest is that you still read to your kids or read to each other. When Dan and I would take trips, I loved to drive and Dan liked to read. And so we would read huge books, and sometimes they would be so wonderful and so touching that I would have to get off the road and park because we were both crying. Wow. And then we would think we have it all together, and I would start the exit to get back on the main road, and we'd start crying again. He would say one word, and it would take us right back to that moment in the story.
Wow.
We had a lot of good times reading to each other, but you really understand the story differently. All I can tell you is that I challenge you to try it. There's a wonderful book that's called The Education of Little Tree, and it's about a Native American boy and how he grew up with his grandparents. And that was one of the ones I remember pulling off the road. And then I just couldn't drive. I had to get it out. It touched my heart deeply. And in fact, we loved that book so much that we gave it to everyone at Christmas. Everybody had The Education of Little Tree. So if you're looking for a good book, I highly recommend it.
Awesome.
This is where you can help me. The last time I went to the poetry reading group, I went up there and I still get nervous. And it's the same 15 people there, all super friendly. Everyone goes up and reads their poems. I get up there, and even like I look at the list and I'm like, all right, this is the name before me. So when that person's going, I'm like in my head, and then I go up there and it's my turn to read, and I know as I'm going, I'm talking too fast. And the last time I was there, you know, people, they are nice enough to say they do like my poetry, which is always great to hear. But one came up to me and she just looked at me. She goes, calm down, slow down. You're good. Take a deep breath. And that's how I then knew, like, it wasn't just in my head that I was going too fast, that other people could tell. So what advice do you have for me?
All right. Before I would ever read, I would always spend a few moments like taking some deep breaths, very slow, deep breaths, maybe as many as 10. And then I would stop thinking about myself. See, you're also thinking about yourself, which makes you nervous. You're thinking about what they're going to think of you.
I'm self-conscious.
Right. So you don't want to think about that. You want to think about this poem that you are going to share with them. And then when you get up to the mic, look out at the room and look way back in the back. And that person way back in the back is going to be the person you're talking to. Just think, they worked all day. They came out that evening because they wanted to hear some poetry. And they're tired, but they are there because they really want to hear you. And so speak directly to them. Just don't think about yourself. And all of a sudden, you've done it.
Yeah.
Try
and
it.
even from like a stand-up
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, I do stand-up comedy, so
Yeah.
like for me, like those people are paying for a good time.
Yes.
My job is to give them a good time. I don't care about me. I don't care about my ego. I need to go out there and make them. I need to make these people love me. You know, they're
That's
here
right.
to hear what I have to say.
That's right.
So let me engage. And it's important. Like I move through the room, like pull people in. I'll start talking to this person for, get them engaged in the joke. And then as I'm going through the joke, move it on to someone else. So they're still engaged. Now I'm moving it to a different portion of the room and getting them engaged
Exactly.
and bringing it all around. So it's a much shared thing. And I've done it too, where I've been so scripted. And I feel like anytime I'm so scripted, it's because I know I'm going from this joke to this joke to this joke. Maybe I'll throw in a little crowd work.
Yeah.
And I find it best that I have an overview. Like I know, okay, here's my bullets. Here's what I'm going to do. And, but like to just improvise between and just feel the room, the energy, and you find someone to like, you can jive with. Poetry, obviously, in comedy, there's, similarities as far as people are there, for the entertainment, they're there to listen. So I think you're right. Just, they're there for a reason. They're there for the purpose, and you're giving them that purpose. So you just have to be confident in what you're there for. You're obviously there because you want to do it.
Yeah.
So
I have to stop being so insecure.
Yes.
yeah, Kevin.
You
All right,
can.
we're supposed to both agree so quickly.
well,
Dang,
well,
you wore like a
well,
pound of makeup here.
we
Come on,
just-
let it
So
out.
when?
We just know that's what's wrong. You know how to pronounce every word. You wrote the poem. So
Yeah.
you have come to share your poem with that person at the very back of the room.
All right. I'm going to try to get to next month's poetry gathering. I will report back.
Do you practice reading it sometimes before you go?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of
In
course.
the car.
In the car, yeah. So you know how to do it.
Yeah.
That's not it.
Well,
The pauses. Be sure you put in pauses.
Yeah.
that's what I'm lacking.
Okay. All right.
Well, and I will share this story with you, Fran. I probably told you this. So there was this program that came through when I was a senior in high school, and it was Poetry Out Loud. I don't know if they did that when you were still in the school district, but you could choose any poem from a list. You had to memorize it and present it in the auditorium. I went up there and I read it and I read it. I even recorded myself onto my MP3 player and would listen to myself. And I went up there, it just went blank. And I started going, and then I started repeating myself, and then I caught myself, and I finally just got off stage. I did not win the competition. And then like 2 years later, I'm working over at the ski hill, and this new kid was starting, and I'm like, oh, hey, I'm Kevin, whatever. He goes, you're the kid from Poetry Out Loud, right? I couldn't believe, but people do not forget. And maybe part of this insecurity stems from that. But
Exactly.
to me, it's a funny story now.
Well, but just remember, you had to memorize that poem. That's
Can't
different.
memorize it then.
No. Your nervousness closed the door. That's why you couldn't find it.
Oh, God.
And that wasn't because you didn't write it.
No,
That's the thing. Like,
Yeah, but it was short.
it didn't matter.
and when it's your own, it doesn't have to be word for like it could be. It doesn't
No.
have to be word for. If you mess up, you know where it's taking you. You just keep going. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
much easier to recover when it's not a script.
All right.
Okay. And you can read it to me anytime you want. And I'll tell you about the pauses.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Fair. Come with me to the poetry night
I would like to.
and then sit in the back.
And sit in the back, right? And you can read it to me.
There we go. I don't know if that's going to solve anything, but it's a step.
I remember in high school, we were doing something. I was in like the art honor society or whatever. We had something going on in the auditorium, and we had to go up to the microphone and read a quote from your favorite artist, and mine was Salvador Dali. So I walked up there and I was like, sometimes I feel like I'm going to die from an overdose. Took a long pause of satisfaction. And just walked off. I remember my parents were there. My mom was like, "You gotta be kidding me!" But that was one of his quotes. Sometimes I feel like I'm
Yes.
gonna die from an overdose of satisfaction. The delivery on it was great.
Did someone?
The guidance counselors were already waiting for him. They're like, "Is everything okay at home?"
Yeah.
Did people laugh?
Yeah, a couple of my friends. I knew. I mean, some people got a kick out of it, but for the most part,
It
don't
went over
remember.
their heads.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you for that teaching moment.
You're welcome.
From you as well, Justin.
You're welcome.
You're the student now, Kevin.
I'm trying to learn. Staying
all you can do.
curious, and I went to the library before coming here, so trying to stay learning, lifelong learning. Right,
Yes.
Fran?
Right to the last breath.
Can you do
Love that. To the last breath.
Yes.
Can you do the podcast and the world a favor and explain the importance of libraries?
Well, I got my library card when I was 3. And I'm an only child. And there was no television. We used to listen to the radio. And I would listen to the president read on Sunday afternoons, wonderful stories to children. But we had a library that was 2 blocks from our house. And my mother would walk me down, and I met the librarian, and I could read. Couldn't read big books, but I could read a lot of books. And that librarian became a really good friend to me. Since it was crossing only one street to get there, my mother would cross that street with me, and then eventually I would go with my little red wagon and go all the way down to the library. And I started with picture books, and then I moved to animal books, and then I moved to books about people's lives. I think the biographies became my favorite. And it was like traveling around the world. I could go anywhere in a book, and it was all free. It was all provided. And I would come home. Finally, the librarian liked me so much. She trusted me. All the books, I could take as many as I wanted. I wasn't limited. And that's what I did all the time by myself. I read. And it helped me to understand other people's lives. And I know that a lot of the books that I read, were not all full of just true things, but they gave me an idea about the life of other people in other countries. And I just recommend it to get a library card. You have no idea until you're in that library and you break the code. You can figure out how to find your own books, or either you just walk up and down the aisles and you look at them. Every book has so much to tell you. And so it's important to become a good reader. And I've told you that before, that is the key to becoming a forever learner.
No.
Keep reading. So go get your library card.
I've been preaching that for a few years now.
Yes.
I don't think anyone has listened. Steve, you're nodding along. Have you gotten a library card?
Yeah, I've had a library card. I just because you preach about library cards and you preach about cream cheese. And it's funny where you guys meet in the middle.
Yeah. Plenty of books on cream cheese at the library.
I haven't been to the library in too long, but I got really big into reading a couple years. It's been probably like 7 years, 6-7 years. But I read most of the stuff. Most of the stuff I read is like self-help. It's always like business.
Is it working?
Philosophy. Yeah, barely. But I like I was reading Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, and like that, I flip through that. Like I'll go through and like just find like 4 pages to read, and I'm like, wow.
Yes.
Like just you could pick any 4 pages. And I like that because even like every book you read, like you don't retain every bit of knowledge in that. But if I can look at a book, I have a bookshelf, and that's a part of me with books. I'm like, I like showing off like what I have,
Yes.
right? Maybe
It is.
Virtue
It is.
signaling.
Is that a complex? I don't know.
Virtue signaling. Yeah.
But but I can point to each and every one of the books that I've read and tell you something about that book, something that might have that stuck out to me, or something that might have changed me in a way, or make me think different. And that's what I like about reading and books in general.
Yes.
Get a library card.
Get
Justin,
a library card.
you need a library card.
Okay.
Because when I go, unless I know what I want, I just walk up and down the aisles.
Yeah, looking.
How are the librarians looking nowadays?
They're all very handsome. You're gonna get along with them great.
Bummer.
No, it's important because I don't know if you've ever met someone, maybe the kids back in the day, who thought it was cool that they didn't read.
Yes.
And that, once I got older, I was like, that's not cool at all. Because the books open your mind up to so much.
Yes.
It was also important for me to learn that you didn't have to finish a book.
Yeah.
I used to force myself to finish books.
Yep, you don't. No.
That's like one thing with school. Like I used to I didn't like reading in school. Like certain things, yes, but the books they were giving out, I never really interest me. Like for whatever reason, I was like, oh, I'm like, I have to read this, and I'm reading. I'm like, I'm just bored. So like, then you get to a point like pick out something you actually enjoy, something you want to learn, or something you want to read about. It's something that relates to you, whatever. Just that's better that way than someone forcing you a book that you don't want to read.
I agree. And there are lots of books out there, and a lot of new books, a lot of new thinking that's going on around the world. And you can find out a lot, but you can't believe everything you read. Be sure you always check the copyright date on your books. I always had students look at that, because if it's a science book and it's been 20 years since this book was published, we've come a long way since then.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But sometimes stories will last forever. They teach the truth about humanity and how we are, basically. What all the different kinds of love. It's a nice way to find out about love.
5 Love Languages. Love that book.
Yeah.
It's a good book, actually.
What are you?
I'm definitely acts of service. When people do things for me, I appreciate that. And for me, like, I do so much. I take care of like I always am like, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm going doing my hair. It's like I take care. I always go at, I feel like I'm always going above and beyond for like a lot of people in my life. I know you're about
Now
to
you
say.
take great care of me.
Yeah. But I think
Treats me
that
well.
for me is definitely one. I'm probably a few, but that one sticks out to me the most. So acts of services.
There's a quote that I used to always have up on the wall in my classrooms, and this is the quote: "Love is the tender branch on the tree of life." What does that mean?
Love is the tender branch. I'm stumped. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Kids wondered and wondered about it. But if it's the tender one, how do you treat the tender branch on a tree?
Dare I say tenderly?
Carefully.
Ooh.
Carefully. And there's all kinds of love. You love every single person differently.
Yeah.
It's never the same. But love is the most important power in our lives.
Most moving thing, probably.
Oh, it is. It's more powerful than any other force, I believe.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, right. And every love that you have stretches your heart. Your heart gets bigger as you grow older. And all those loves just teach you more about love. But it's a wonderful thing. Better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all.
That's the truth.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's going to be a whole series talking about love and relationships.
Good. I love to talk about love.
Yeah. I mean, you would know. Dan, right? 59
Yes.
years married?
59 years. We dated a year before we got married.
Call it 60.
60 years.
Call it 60.
And it wasn't enough.
Well, we'll start wrapping this one up.
Yes.
Fran, what advice can you give to folks to be better teachers? We kind of went over how to be good students, to be curious, to read, to stay interested, but how can we be better teachers to one another?
Oh, well, if you're talking about how everyone is your teacher,
Yeah.
I like that better than trying to tell other people how to teach, because everyone chooses that profession differently for a different reason, and that classroom is their world. And I would never even attempt to try and change anything that they do. But for all of us, as we are teaching others, take the time to explain something if somebody needs for you to answer a question. Don't be in a hurry. Really listen. A lot of people don't even look at you when they're talking to you. They're doing something else, and they're sort of listening, but not completely listening. But remember, you have to be a good listener first, and then really answer what they're asking. If you don't understand the question, ask them that, and then give them time, because the greatest gift I think you can give people that you care about is your time.
I
That's it.
believe that 100%. I tattooed on my body, time well spent. Like the essence of time. That is something like,
Yes.
okay, like I can lose money. I don't care about that. I'll make more. My time, That is the
Nice.
most valuable thing I own.
Yep.
So for everybody, think about it and be a good teacher, be a good listener, and enjoy being who you are. Okay. Till I see you next week.
Next week.
Well, not just yet. Did we have for the Army of Good? I think
Oh.
we had kind of discussed.
Oh, things that you might do.
What is for those trying or already enlisted in the Army of Good?
Yes.
What can they be doing for the next? What's a good task for this week coming up? What should we
All
be
right.
mindful of? Do you have anything
Well,
been working on?
Well, because it's May and it's close to graduations and weddings and so many wonderful times when people send gifts, take the time to write a loving note with your gift, if that's what you're doing. Make it personal. No, don't make it just a short thing with their name on it, and let the card speak for you. Really speak from your heart. And I would say, because of the time of the year, look up, and if you can't find anyone to give a gift to, how about a surprise bunch of flowers? And tell them how much it means to you to have them living in your neighborhood. And that will be a wonderful way to start the ripple effect in their life.
Is this just you trying to get flowers, Fran?
Yeah, you're gonna go.
I don't have any flowers. I have flowers outside.
Yeah.
Cool.
My roses are gone now
Well,
from Mother's Day.
I like that. A heartfelt letter.
A heartfelt
It's
letter.
a gift just because you
Yeah.
appreciate
Yeah.
someone.
Yes. Find somebody to send something to.
Yeah. Well, you folks know what to do out there.
Okay. And
Keep
let's hear from you. Yeah.
Yeah. Keep writing in. That's I think we're all enjoying that. Fran, you gave some
Yes.
great advice to start the show.
Thank you.
The email is twithfranmail@gmail.com.
Okay.
You can find us on social media on Instagram at twithfranpodcast. We're on YouTube now. You can comment there. We're on Instagram. We are on Spotify, Apple
Google,
Pods.
Apple.
Yeah, we're working on it. We got a link tree, which felt official, and yeah, it's fun. So keep writing in. Justin is working diligently on getting the audio just right.
Yep.
So we'll
Good.
see.
We'll see how this week turns out.
We'll see how
Yes.
this week
We got a
turns
dog
out.
involved, and now you with a mic stand sitting a mile away from it, so I got a little bit of work to do, but we'll be all right. We'll be good.
And
You'll hear us.
To our producer Steve, who
Yes.
flew in from
Thank-
across the country to be here to
Thank
watch the
you.
levels.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Steve.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it. And
Thank you.
to the
I told you I was going to get you an intern.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't expecting him. I would have picked
All
much
right,
better,
everyone,
but
yeah.
he'll
Army
he'll
of
do
Good.
it.
Thank you, everyone, for writing in. Keep taking care of the earth. Clean it up.
Yes.
Till next time.
Till next week. Peace, love, all that good
Peace.
stuff.
Bye.
That's good.